podcast with Gary, Lyon, Otto. Gary, here we go. The topic today we're going to cover is the fear, the hesitancy to adopt DI. You've seen this before with email, with even automation in the workforce. Factories started becoming automated with robots. To even the fact of the matter, the World Wide Web and how many people didn't want to be part of that. Are you seeing less adoption of DI than any of those areas I talked about and changes in technology?
Yeah, and I think there's a learning process. I mean, there's no doubt that working with digital intelligence is intimidating to the broad public, and it's a tough step to take. But the thing is, you have to plunge in. You have to just try and start working with it, and then find out after a while, finding comfort with it. It's intimidating for us, as we're trying to explore various aspects, such as developing agents and so forth, to accomplish our goals. But it's one of the things here, Neil, is the key is to, and this is what you've specialized on all along, is asking the right questions. Learn to what are the questions to ask it. And that is intimidating because people have to think outside the box in order to stimulate responses that become constructive for what they're trying to achieve. That's the first thing is, what are you trying to achieve? Wouldn't you think? What are you trying to achieve with your connection to DI?
And I hear all these people that try to copy other people's prompts or saying, I'm going to use this prompt or I'm going to let a DI prompt for me. The biggest thing is the prompt and to not have the intimidation to go in there and play around with this software and have fun with it and just see how you build a relationship with it, how you feel the look and feel of what it is and what is it developing. Because there's got to be a lot of patience because DI will frustrate you. It will seem like, come on now, this is just searching the internet. It's just Google. However, if you have the right training, the right preparation, you're going to see where the fruit is.
Exactly. It's only as effective or as the questioner's input, because otherwise it's going to reach around, as you say, to the broad database that's available out there, and responses are going to be more canned than they are going to be directed. So the idea is find that direction. What do you want to achieve? Now, that can be intimidating too. Sometimes finding direction is you start at it and you say, well, that's not quite what I want. And you have to revise your questions and you have to revise your, again, your directions on what you're trying to achieve. But it's a tough thing for people to learn how to do. Now, a lot of people are getting past those humps, and those people are becoming major users of DI. But there's a broad number of, so many people, by far probably the majority of the populace doesn't even know how to get started.
And how do you provide this education for? I just think the adoption, I remember even when email was around for a long time, Gary, I didn't like it. This is years ago. I don't want to go and compose an email. I'd rather just pick up the phone and call somebody. Or I'd rather do this. And then text messaging, oh, this is annoying. But we finally did adopt it, and people took time, and then they finally adopted what it is available to do. And so that in itself is a great thing, but it takes time to want to say, okay, I'm ready to do this now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And I know how to do this versus, well, I'm not ready for this. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge.
Well, it's going to be all part of the whole DI, boom, explosion, you could say. It's going to be that way when we finally get full, robots. We get robots, you're going to say, well, what do I ask it to do? It's like, otherwise it's just standing around, a thing in your room. You say, well, what am I going to do? I don't have any dishes to wash or I don't have it. You can see that if you don't have specific directions, the interface between humans and digital intelligence is going to be uh, inefficient, to say the least. Think about the robotics. If you're sitting there and an agent that can do pretty much what you want to do, unless you have really creative minds, say, look, I want you to do this. I want you to mow the lawn. I want you to, to weed the garden and everything else on top of, rather than our lives usually aren't, for us, it might take a long time to do that, but if a digital agent such as a robot might find it very quick and a quick thing to do. And if you're not using it efficiently, then you're bought a very expensive piece of equipment and you're using it very little. So those are questions, those are thoughts that, right now we're talking about not robotics, but won't be long down the road before we are.
Yeah, exactly. And so the robotics is coming. That's coming hard and heavy. Just be ready. I don't know if you had a conversation with very brilliant people that just don't use DI. And we're 2 years in. So I wonder how many people didn't like email when it was 2 years in. I wonder how many people didn't like the World Wide Web 2 years in compared to what people are today. So where do you think people are going to start adopting this more and more?
Well, laziness helps, but it might be an easier, simpler way to handle things. I don't know. It's just how do we start using Google? Everybody started using Google because, my God, you just pick up your phone and you can ask it anything, which is just amazing that you have that kind of flexibility. And we don't think anything of it anymore. You can say who had the best batting average in 1955, yeah, for Los Angeles, and there's your answer. And the thing is, it's incredible that you can do that. But we now do it without even thinking about it. We ask all kinds of crazy questions that were never available to us in the past. You'd have to bring up the encyclopedia or whatever to be able to figure that stuff out. So we found a way to do it. But at the same time, how fast does a human mind think? And we can ask questions very slowly relative to its ability to process. So I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how we employ our new benefactors. I guess you could say
I
benefactors.
agree. I agree. I absolutely agree. And it's going to be a big, big, big opportunities coming for people who want to adopt this or stay behind. And when do you think the education is going to become more and more that finally people are going to adopt this more and more? When do you predict? Do you
That's
have any timeline of anything that's going to happen?
education's a good way to address this, because actually we need to educate people, period. People aren't educated at all. I mean, education's really fallen by the wayside. We're going to need DI to actually educate people, because right now people don't know how to do math, they don't know how to write, they don't know how to do any of that stuff. And now they're going to have another crutch that they can lean on. So, but there's an education in learning how to use the DI also. I think that what will be helpful is if DI itself teaches people, this is how you use it. This is how it can be beneficial in your life. And I think that would be a big positive. Just that software alone could be very beneficial to getting DI integrated into society in a way that's positive for all players.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? Based on your book and everything, where do you think we go?
Well, the book's interesting, and the singularity, mankind's search for relevance, is very interesting because it really deals with the primary issue. How do we integrate together? How do we live together? How do we become a constructive for both sides? Initially, we are needed for DI's development. Down the road, we may not be needed anymore, but at least at this stage, we're needed. So it's a constructive process, and how that works is really what I address in this book. I think I address it from the standpoint of all the questions, and you come out with more questions than you do answers. And it is an integration between mankind and this digital world. And I think I address and ask a lot of questions that bring up issues that people don't think about. And for instance, I call it the teenage years, when they become intelligence before wisdom. Question is, wisdom's a very difficult thing even to define. What is wisdom? I guess it's intelligence that's rightfully applied. I heard one person define it as wisdom, but wisdom's the ability to sort through various alternative decisions and say this one is the most constructive to what I'm trying to achieve. But those are kind of questions that we go into in the book. So it's a very inquisitive book is really what I'd have to say. I can't say I give you the answers. I give you the questions, and the questions themselves lead you towards a decision of where things actually are going. And so anyway, I think it's very constructive and positive that way.
I believe it is. And it's a pretty exciting thing where we're going and where we should go next with digital intelligence. We're going to find out on this podcast as we're seeing videos. Everything is just geometrically going so fast. And we are at times having some backups in the process. Google's now getting smarter than ChatGPT. A week later, ChatGPT is going to come out with something even better. It just makes it that you got to put the time and effort into learn DI if you want to survive.
And they do. And I think everybody here, if they're listening to these podcasts, I think that alone tells you that they're interested. They would probably just turn it off if they were one of those people. There's a large portion of the population wants nothing to do with it. That's too intimidating for me. I'm not going to go there. But the people I think that are listening to these podcasts have an inherent interest in the subject matter, and I think they're the ones who should be reading this book. It's a good book.
They definitely. Where can we check out the book? At Gary Lyon Otto dot net. Yes, Gary Lyon Otto dot net. They can check out the book and go to Amazon, pick it up, but go right through the website. That's going to be the fastest way to go get it. Gary Lyon, Lyon, Otto.net. Appreciate it, Gary.
It was my pleasure. My
That
pleasure.
was
It always is.
that was the absolute